Hey y'all, welcome back. This is Hans. We got a brand new scope review for you today. This is not a brand new company, but it's new to the Hans ETX YouTube channel. This is the Rix Optic. This is the Leap L3. And I'm going to tell you, this company has been around for about a year right now. This is March 2024. They've been around for about a year. Really started creating a lot of buzz on Facebook about 6 months ago, back last summer. Now, this is a brand now that Outdoor Legacy has picked up. We are selling it. You can find it at outdoorlegacygear.com if you want to call and talk about the Rix Optics scopes, if you want to talk about how they compare with other scopes, if you want to talk about maybe another one in their line like the Leap L6 that we're going to be reviewing next, call us up, 877-350-1818. You can talk to me directly and ask about our experience and my experience with the Rix scopes. But we're going to be doing like we always do. We're going to be showing video through the optic. We're going to be running down specs, who it's good for, likes and dislikes, and if this is the right purchase. Now, this scope comes in at just under $2,300, which, I mean, that alone really gets a lot of attention, the price point. Yes, these optics, not just the Rix stuff, but all optics are really, there's a gradual trend in prices going down here recently, and it's a good thing for the consumer, a lot more choices for sure. And the quality is still, the quality is not suffering, even though the price is going down. So it's fantastic. It's definitely a buyer's market. And again, if you're looking to purchase an optic, you can give me a call directly. Now, I have a lot to say about the Rix Optic. And the first thing I want to touch on before we get into the video is the fact that, this is something that, although being brand new on the market, this is not something that Outdoor Legacy jumped in to purchase right away. Now, you may have heard, a lot of people out there that have been using them for quite a while. We typically don't jump on board with a manufacturer right away. We like to test things out. We've been testing this optic for a couple months before we even signed up to be a dealer. We want to do a thorough testing. We want to know how the company's going to operate, customer service, all of that. So we're never the first company to jump on board with a manufacturer, and that goes in the case of all of them. But, really, we wanted to make sure that we put this thing through its paces, not just for the product, but also the company. And now, that we are a dealer, we do have confidence in selling them and recommending them. Now, if this is the right optic for you, that's something that you need to determine by watching this video or calling us. But we're going to get right into it right now. We're going to run down the specs. All right, so this is the Rix Optic Leap 3. Now, it is a 384 by 216 thermal resolution. It's 12 micron, 50 hertz refresh rate. It does have a minus 25 NETD thermal sensitivity rating, has an OLED display of 1920 by 1080. That's the thermal display resolution. It has what Rix Optics is calling optical zoom. So basically on the eyepiece, there's a lever right here that you can increase the magnification, what they're calling optically. And essentially what you're doing is when you start at 3.2 base magnification on the unit itself right here on the eyepiece, you can raise that up to 9.6 power just by moving that lever right there. And what that does is it zooms in on the display screen, makes the display screen larger. We're going to talk about that. Again, they're calling that optical zoom. On the Late Night Vision Show, we kind of call it ocular zoom, because when you think of optical zoom, you think of increasing the magnification without cutting resolution at all. They're doing, which is a good idea, they're doing their magnification, their optical magnification on the display screen, whereas some of the other companies that have optical zoom, they're doing it on the thermal sensor itself down here. So they're doing it up here. Whether you call it optical zoom or ocular zoom, it is a nice feature. We'll get into it. The picture image does hold together better than digital magnification, but it's not like what you consider like a daytime scope, true optical magnification where you don't lose any picture quality at all. We'll talk about that just a little bit further. It does have, like I said, ocular zoom. It starts at 3.2 magnification. You increase it to 9.6 power. It also has 4 power digital magnification as well. So you got digital magnification and ocular magnification. It's got a 40-foot field of view at 100 yards, a detection range of 1,800 yards. Now, the ID range, I would say, is pretty standard for most 384 resolution scopes in this price range. It's going to be about 250 to 300 yards on a coyote size target. And again, that's very conservative. It could be more than that. If you're more experienced, if it's a larger animal, it could definitely be more than that as well. It does have Wi-Fi, onboard Wi-Fi, video and audio recording. It's got 32 gigabytes of internal storage for recording videos. It runs on, this is a great thing, it runs on one removable, rechargeable 18650 battery, and you're going to get a fantastic 7 hours of runtime on a single battery. It does come with 2 batteries, and so that's great. You know, to have a scope that's running on 18650s is a great move by Rix Optic to provide that with this scope. Very handy, very easy. You can find those batteries for $10 or $15 a piece. Great job on that. That's really love that fact. It does have an IP67 weather rating. It's rated to -4 degrees Fahrenheit for hunting conditions. It's got a recoil rating of 300 Win Mag and 7 Mag. It weighs almost 43 ounces, and it does come with a 5-year warranty with a 5 business day repair or replace turnaround time. So that's what they're telling everybody. Now, let's do a walk around this thing. It does come with a quick release mount. So this is a Rix Optic branded QD mount. So 2-throw lever. Good mount, taking it on and off, haven't had any problems with it at all. So no concerns about the mount whatsoever. Now, it does have a 3-turret dial system. Each one of these turrets does something. I will say, without getting too far into the likes, I do like it. I think it is very easy to use. I think being able to access the menu is easy, to change different settings and functions does make it easy. But each one of these turrets does turn and does do something. This is your battery door for your 18650 battery. Goes right in there. Now, we talked about the ocular zoom lever right here. This does fold in and out, so it's not hanging out there, but it has eyepiece diopter focus, and it comes with a rubber eye cup. Your objective lens focus right here that just turns this. You just turn this whole dial right here to adjust your objective lens focus, and it has a USB-C port right here on the side. So that is the walk around of the scope. Again, very, the tube style design is very popular for a lot of different reasons, but a tube style scope is something that you can mount on an AR style rifle, a chassis rifle, a bolt action rifle, and be able to get good and proper eye relief. So that's why these are so popular. And that's why each one of the manufacturers, when they do produce a tube style scope, it's usually their most popular unit sold. So that's a walk around of the scope. Let's talk about, first thing, let's talk about the dislikes. We'll start with that first. Now, I think most obvious you have to look at is the weight. A lot of people ask, how much does it weigh? We get phone calls all day, every day. How much does it weigh? How much does it weigh? This is not a light scope. It's about 3 or 4 ounces heavier than most of the competitors' scope in this price range. That's not a huge deal. 3 or 4 ounces is not that much, but it is a little bit heavier than most scopes, and it's worth noting, in case you're wondering, 43 ounces. I would say another negative is the magnification. When you raise your digital magnification, if you're right-handed, the dial to increase magnification is on the right-hand side of the scope. Well, if you are right-handed and you've got your scope set up on a tripod and you need to increase the magnification, you have to take your trigger hand, your trigger finger off of the rifle completely to increase the magnification, which you don't want to do, especially if you got coyotes running in, or if you've got hogs that are trying to run off or whatever, you're having to take your hand off. So what that causes you to do sometimes is reach over the scope itself to increase the magnification while keeping your rifle hand on the rifle itself. So it's a little bit of a negative again, not a huge deal, but just worth noting. Another dislike is, you notice the resolution is 384 by 216. That 216, that's the vertical resolution. The screen is a little bit more narrow than other 384 scopes in the market. They're typically you see like 384 by 288. Well, this is 384 by 216. Does not cut the picture image at all. The picture image is fantastic. Doesn't do anything to degrade the picture image. It's just a little bit shorter of a screen. You still have the same width horizontal, but the vertical screen is just a little bit shorter than most. Last thing, we talked about the ocular zoom, which is a positive and a negative. The reason why I say it's a negative is when you do increase the ocular magnification from 3.2 to 9.6, the picture image, when you raise it all the way up to 9.6, does get fuzzy. I noticed some reticle blur, so I had to refocus the eyepiece diopter whenever I got up to that higher magnification, because it's just like, think about, you focus something to your eye and you're like, okay, I've got the eyepiece diopter focus. It's focused. It looks good. Well, imagine moving that closer to your eye. Well, you'd have to refocus. And that's kind of what this is doing. It's increasing the size of the display screen. So some people may have to do it more than others, but I did have to refocus this to keep my reticle from getting very blurry. That's the negative. The positive of this is ocular magnification does better than digital magnification. It does not cut the resolution like traditional digital magnification, whereas with digital magnification, every time you double your magnification, I've said magnification like 10 times in a row, every time you double it, you cut your resolution in half. That's not the way it works with this ocular. And it does hold the picture image together a little bit better. It's a cool trick. You may see other manufacturers down the road pick this up and try to do it. They're doing something new. Kudos to Rix for doing something that the other companies are not doing. And they've done it in a very cost-effective way. It is not what you think of true continuous optical magnification, but it is a good feature and it's worth having on there. It's worth being proud about. But again, you want to make sure you know exactly how this thing is going to work. Still works good, but might need to refocus it. Okay, the likes, the quality of the picture image has definitely got to be the number one like. For $2,300. This scope comes in at a very low price considering compared to some of the competition, but it does have a great picture image. I think if you see the videos, you'll see that for $2,300. I think this scope definitely holds its own. And if you're looking for an optic under $2,500, you got to take this into consideration for sure. What I also really liked is when the scope showed up, very nice box, a nice case to carry it in, a very, very good presentation. You feel like when you purchase it, you feel like you're spending $2,300, and that's the way it should. They provide a very nice presentation with your scope. I would also say the quality of the build. When you hold the scope, when you feel it, when you use it, you'll say, oh man, this feels nice. It feels like a very, very high quality scope. I would say the value. I mean, it's hard to get away from the cost of this. $22.99, $2,300 for this optic, I think is an unbelievable deal. I think that they are very aggressive with their pricing, and it's made a lot of other companies reassess their pricing as well and say, you know what? We got to take a look at this. And you've seen some other companies, cut their prices, maybe not just because of this scope, but in that $2,000 to $3,000 price range, there has been a lot of movement down in price in that price range itself. And this is a part of that, not just this scope particularly, but the whole trend of optics these days. So it's a good move. And this is a very aggressive price at $2,300. And the last thing is the 18650 removable rechargeable battery. Awesome. You can buy those anywhere. Very inexpensive. You can have a whole pocket full of them. It does come with 2 batteries. Now, this scope, who I think it's good for, if you are looking for a scope and your budget is no more than $2,500, got to take a look at this scope. I think it is one of the best scopes under $2,500. I would also say that if you are looking for a tube style scope, if you're wanting to put it on a bolt action rifle, a chassis rifle, or maybe you're an AR shooter, maybe you shoot an AR style rifle, but you think, man, someday I might want to put it on a chassis rifle, or I might want to put it on a bolt action, you might look at investing in a tube style scope like the Rix Leap L3. Also, it is a 3.2 base magnification. It's a very generous base magnification for this price range. So if you are a coyote hunter, a hog hunter, if your average shot is over 100 yards, I would definitely take a look at the Leap L3. Again, if your budget is under $2,500. Now, if you see this, and like most people that call, they say, Hans, I watched your video. I'm calling you now first thing because you told me to. And so you created this, and I'm more confused now than I was before I watched your video. That happens. We have a good way. I have a very good way of throwing a wrench in everybody else's bike spokes. When they think they decide on an optic, they see this or they see a review and they're like, oh man, I'm so confused. Give me a call, 877-350-1818, outdoorlegacygear.com. We also, we have a weekly podcast that we do. It's called The Late Night Vision Show. If you've watched this channel at all, we talk about it a lot here, but The Late Night Vision Show podcast, we are doing reviews and hunting shows every single week, every Thursday. So you can find it on YouTube, on Google Play. You can even go over to the website, thelatenightVisionShow.com, find all of our past episodes. But this has been the review of a fantastic optic, a fantastic, unbelievable great value at $2,300. The Rix Optic Leap L3. We got the Leap L6, the 640 resolution version. We're going to be doing that review very, very soon. We just did that review on the Late Night Vision Show. Going to be doing it here on the Hansi's Texas YouTube channel. Y'all stay tuned. We've got more. This is review season. If you're in the mood, we're always in the mood for something new. But if you are in the market for a new optic, and this is the best time to buy, we're going into a slower time of year. People's hunting season is stopping, but the reviews are coming out. The new stuff continues to pour out, and we're going to review it every time right here. Hansi TX. We'll see y'all soon. Y'all stay safe.